Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Holy smokes, you are here early. Well, you're not really early, you're just here on time, which means you probably have your bell notification on. So I wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in on time. If you're watching a replay of this, you could just fast forward it a few minutes. This usually gets trimmed out, but I wanted to take a moment to let you know what you could do to make this a more enjoyable experience for all of us. The first thing you could do is just make sure you're subscribed and the bell notification is on. 40% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. And the second thing you could do is give this video a like. More than likely you're gonna like it, so give it a like preemptively. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And third of all, leave a comment in the chat letting me know where you're watching this from. Now what you're gonna see is our countdown clock, and the show will start momentarily. Thank you so much for being here.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Yeah, conversations front of the fireplace. All of my mistakes, how do I erase? Wanna operate at a higher pace. Birth pains causing the body to dilate. On a first name basis with the worst pain facing. Moments in isolation. See, I was hoping I would do this to get more family time. A busy mind and worried heart, is this not where I reside? I subscribed that all that traveling wasn't doing well for my soul. Glad I never made it when my name went through the rumor mill. I suppose that the Lord knows I'd have failed. Instead I'm doing well at home, out my shell. Good book off the shelf, more dubs off the L's. I told Ray they ain't just gon' know us, they gon' know us well. Happy to have failed my way to success. With my family by my side, Lord knows what's next. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. But I know what's off, never noticed y'all. Hit a protocol, need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, I need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, we need an overhaul. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. All that drama and hysteria should die down. If there's nothing nice to say, then baby, pipe down. Life is too short to try and pay the price now. I was walking on water and then I wiped out. So this is for the restoration of every family member that's estranged. I know you're facing the same asymptomatic patient, different virus. Hard to tell somebody they sick when they only deny it. And you confide in something personal, but they think you lying. With friends like these who need enemies, I wish I was lying. Nevertheless, I wanna be more and you less trying. Until the Lord comes back and takes his people back to Zion. Yeah. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. But I know what's off, never noticed y'all. Hit a protocol, need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, I need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, we need an overhaul. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. Conversations front of the fireplace.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, late night stream. But you know what? You're here. You're here. We're gonna do something we've never done here before, which is we're gonna react to some memes. I'm also gonna open up the Zoom calls, so if you're in the chat, you wanna call in via Zoom, let me know. And I am going to open up the Zoom call primarily for our Patreon folks first. I'll send if you go to if you're a channel member, you could also hop on there. I'm not sure how many of you guys are up, but I'm grateful for everybody who's here. Had a fantastic day hanging out with my son and my family and church, and yeah, man, really good times. I'm super grateful to be here with you guys tonight. So if you want to call in, you totally can do that. It's pinned up, and it's a great way for you to support, partner with us as a channel member or a Patreon. Guys, there's 73 of you guys watching and only 38 likes. Can you guys do me a solid? Give this video a thumbs up and let me know where exactly you're watching from in the chat. That helps a lot. When you like this video, you tell YouTube you like this video. YouTube sends it up the YouTube algorithm to the moon, and then you start seeing similar videos to this in your feed, which is, I think it's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win for everybody. It's a win for me, it's a win for you, it's a win for everybody watching. You guys get to do the very basics of supporting this channel. Okay, boom, so we got some folks already in the Zoom call. All right, so I'm gonna react to a couple of memes, two memes in particular. One is definitely a meme, one is not a meme. I don't plan on being here too long, but I figured it'd be fun. Then I'm gonna go to some of the Patreon questions. Okay, so if you do not follow me on Instagram, bummer for you, man. Follow your guy on the Instagram. My stories, my grid is whatever. Like, my grid is getting better, but my stories are filled with the greatest Christian memes ever, okay? So I wanted to highlight this meme to you guys real quick. This is my Instagram. You should follow me on Instagram. By the way, I read almost every single DM from just about everybody, and I reply to a lot of them. But let's go to my story, and I wanted to show this to you guys because I thought this was hilarious. It says, "How are you still single? There's so many great Christian guys out there. Single Christian guys." All right, so I'm gonna play this for you guys. Let me see if I get the audio on.
Have you heard of Jesus? I am a Christian. I love Jesus and he loves me. And he's always there for me. Have you heard of...
It's funny because it's true. It's funny because it's true. Now, why did I want to show you guys this meme? Well, first of all, shout out to all the single people. I put this up as like, y'all, I'm praying for all the single folks out here. And, you know, prayers up. And I post a lot of memes. I did not expect that I would get the response that I would get on this meme, right? The response was overwhelming. So I want to point out a couple things. We talk a lot about on this channel about culture. We talk about dating a little bit too. And I want to point out one thing in particular. Okay, first of all, this is a pretty good looking guy, right? So it's like, how are you still single? There's so many good Christian guys out there. You look at it and you're like, oh, he's a good looking guy. All right. And then he's this guy, right?
I love Jesus and he loves me. And he's always there for me.
Okay, so what's the point of the meme? This is what I think the point of the meme is. When I came to faith, I retained a degree of cultural autonomy, meaning that there is definitely a Christian subculture that people plug into, that people immerse themselves in, with its own language, with its own style of dress, with its own style of music, right? You guys familiar with Christianese? I mean, even down to the degree, and I'm not trying to be offensive here, but even down to the degree of the mannerisms that certain men and women start speaking with, the way they use their hands, the facial expressions, the jokes, right? I, by the grace of God, was able to retain some degree of my own cultural autonomy. And specifically, what am I talking about? I'm Armenian. There's a rich history there, so I was always connected there, even though I was disconnected. We stopped going to the Armenian Orthodox Church. But I was also immersed in hip hop culture, right? And a lot of you guys instantly go, well, hip hop culture is evil, hip hop culture is bad, it's demonic. Here's what this did. I was able to be a follower of Jesus that was in the world, but not of the world. But on the flip side of this, I was able to be in the church, but not of churchianity. I was able to be in the church, but not of Christian culture. I was able to be a part of a Protestant church, but not think like an exclusive monolith Protestant where everything is the exact same, and we all sing these kind of soft emo songs to Jesus, and the men aren't as masculine, and you don't watch boxing or MMA because that's too violent, right? You know, all the things that a lot of women find, I don't know, suitable for a mate, all the little subtle cues that send to women that you are going to be able to protect her and provide for her, right? So I was able to disconnect with some of Christian culture. I never owned a C2A t-shirt, right? I never wore the big Christian t-shirts with the Bible verse. Well, no, I wore a couple Christian t-shirts. Okay, but I didn't go that deep on it. And so I think what happens is, and this is a greater debate, is I think there's this debate that once you come to faith in Jesus, you have to also come to faith in Christian culture, in churchianity, and you have to remove yourself and remove anything you are outside of the church. Now, as a joke in terms of dating, this is what you get. You get this. You get someone that, oh, this is a pretty good looking guy, but is a complete and utter nuisance to be around. Like, I'm not kicking it with this guy. I don't want to hang out with this guy. I don't want to play ball with this guy. I don't want to go lift with this guy. I don't want to be in the studio with this guy. I don't want to interview this guy. I don't want to be around this guy, right? And we've created this Christian tension of immersing ourselves into Christian culture to the point where we look completely removed from any type of norms of dating and pursuing and relationships or being functional, right? So I wanted to point that out just because I thought it was really interesting. Now, obviously, I've said this before on the channel, if you are a part of a culture or subculture and there are things about that culture or subculture that are sinful, you should reject the parts that are sinful. So in my case, I was into hip hop music. There were things about hip hop music I had to utterly reject. I couldn't talk about and listen to music that just glorified violence and killing people and misogyny. I had to reject certain aspects of it, right? But the genre of music, the style of dress, which by the way, all subsequently came back. Like the way I dressed in 2001 is literally the way every other teenager is dressing right now. It's really bizarre. Like baggy pants are back and right, Air Force Ones and all the same stuff was on. So I didn't disconnect from my community and the people that I was around, basketball, all these different things. And though I think a lot of people feel this false dichotomy, this pressure to disconnect from who you are outside of Jesus. And again, if who you are is sinful, you need to repent and reject those things. So the let's remove ourselves, let's protect ourselves from the world is cool until you run into this guy. And then you realize you don't want anything to do with this guy. You don't want to be this guy. You don't want to be around this guy. And if you're a woman, you probably don't want to date this guy. And some folks who become this guy and date this guy usually wake up in their 30s with a rude awakening thinking, what have I made of my faith and my pursuit of Jesus? So those are my thoughts on this. I want to hear from you guys in terms of what you guys think about this topic. And so we brought along our amazing, fantastical Patreon community. They're here, they're hanging out. I want to see if anybody wants to chime in on this topic or has a question about anything I said in case I wasn't clear. Sometimes I'm not the most clear, and you guys are saying Ruslan's promoting godlessness and worldliness. He said Christian culture is evil. Ah, right? The fundies come out, all the fundamentalists come out, and they start yelling at me in the comment section. So, if you guys want to chime in on this, do me a solid, hit participants, throw your hand up. If you're watching this live and you're enjoying this video, give this video a quick thumbs up. I got a couple other things I want to talk about, but let me go to my man, Kid Casper, get his take on this conversation, because I think it's an important one. I really do think it's an important one. I don't think it's the stuff we think about too much, or we don't think about the ramifications of creating a Christian subculture. We don't think how that's going to play out, how that could impact people in relationships and dating. Kid Casper, you're live with me, boss. Go ahead and throw your turn your mic on or unmute yourself, and let me know what you think, boss.
First off, can you hear me?
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute you in the speakers. I can hear you. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like what you're saying is like, as far as like Christians, because I do believe sometimes when it comes to us, especially on the Western Hemisphere, we end up trying to make like a culture for Christianity, even though the culture should just be Christ's lifestyles, his, how he treated people, how he loved people and everything like that. And I feel like sometimes we end up putting God-like, expectations on people, but it's a man-made expectation, even though Christ expects of us to, just love on people and, be fruitful and multiply, be kind to the least of these and everything. And I think sometimes because we've created this, like, as you said, a subculture within the church, it also doesn't train us how to, like, disciple one another, how to love on one another. And it teaches us to, I would say, be more churchy than Christ-like,
Right.
I would say.
Right.
And I think that's what you're getting to, or what you're trying to say. Hopefully I'm on the same track.
No, I think you're totally right. That is what I'm trying to say, is that most of us, when you say Christian in the American context, I think for the longest, I'm not saying this is it today, but I think for the longest, people thought Ned Flanders. Like, people think Ned Flanders. They don't think KB and Amin. They don't think Southside Rabbi, right? They think Ned Flanders. Tuck in your shirt, speak with proper English, and be very unfun, like not exciting to be around. You don't think of the great artists of our generation. You don't think of the great poets. You don't think of the Renaissance leaders. You don't think of the right. You think Ned Flanders, and I think that's what that meme entails. And then for those folks that are in the market for dating, specifically on women, and then you say, oh, there's a lot of Christian men out there, and then it's like, well, yeah, and they are all like Ned Flanders, and that's not. Who wants to be around? Who wants to date Ned Flanders? Who wants to hang out with Ned Flanders? He's not really any fun to be around, right? That's the joke of the meme. So I think you're totally right. Yeah, I think you're totally right, man. Let me go to JP. JP, my man.
All right, firstly, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Thank you for being here, boss.
All right, let me turn my speakers down. Yeah, so I just want to be the representative of the guy who was that dude who wore Christian t-shirts. I had a
I appreciate you being here.
Middle school into high school. My favorite one was a Not of This World t-shirt that said, "No Jesus, no peace."
Oh yeah.
It was KNOW.
Yep.
But it was like blue NO, and then in both words with Jesus and peace. So it was one of my favorites.
I had never owned in my life. I've never owned anything from C28 or anything Not of This World. Couldn't even remember the name, but you did it for me. Not of This. Oh my gosh, everybody had those Not of This World stickers, and was that Spirit West Coast and the whole bit. Yeah, never owned one of those. But I'm glad you're here as a representative to help us process and unpack these deep ideas. So talk to me, JP.
I mean, I will say I'm not that person anymore, but I did go through a phase. I think it's mostly like people raised in the church who go through that phase. You know what I mean? That's my experience. Like, I'm a church kid. I tell people I was in church before I was born. Mm-hmm. I think you just go through a phase where you think like that's the person that you have to be. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because now, we're talking about this guy in the video, which this guy's obviously being, very silly, but I know people like that. And especially like I find myself now like when I meet the female equivalent of that, I'm not attracted to it. Like as a Christian, I'm like, I'm not attracted to women that I meet in church that are super, super churchy. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I feel like you just don't have a semblance of what's going on with the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's kind of funny because I recently had matched with this girl on a dating app, and she like went to a church. She was like on the media team, seemed like really cool. And we were messaging on Instagram, and she says, I have this really cool story about how God called me back to my hometown and like, help start a young adult ministry. I'm like, yo, let's get coffee on Saturday. I'd love to hear all about it. And she left me on red. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what probably happened is she probably told one of her girlfriends about the conversation, and then they started planning out our entire lives, and she decided it wasn't worth the risk. I'm like, I'm literally just asking you to coffee. Like, we're not getting married. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's definitely the type of people that are out there. And I think that, I feel like people just, they appreciate it when you have a more nuanced approach, where it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing Christian t-shirts. Maybe the cheesy, like, like prayer of duty ones where it's like a Call of Duty video game poster, but like a guy praying. Those ones are just it's whatever. But, and then like there's like always like all the parody ones. There's like one that looks like a Sprite, but it's like whatever. But yeah, no, I definitely think that it can do more harm than good, especially as culture shifts and as we progress into the future. I think it's like people just don't take that kind of stuff seriously. I don't think they ever really did, but I think that we convinced ourselves at certain points that they did. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on the.
Yeah,
on
no, that's
topic,
good. I think it's good to hear from someone that comes from the church youth group background and your experience, because I think that is helpful. And I feel like I didn't grow up in like I didn't step foot into an evangelical Protestant church till I was 15, you know. So I got the church, I got the youth group, and I was like what is this? Like I was literally like, I'm going to big church. Like that, I'm going to big church. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like the same songs, you know. And so I couldn't do that. It just didn't work for me. And thankfully, I got around early on. I got around mentors and folks that discipled me that worked Joe jobs. They weren't youth pastors. They loved Jesus, but they were making music and art. And it was probably some of the best thing that happened to me. You know what I mean? And they tease me. They tease me till this day when I almost slid into that youth group culture. And they tease me till this day about all the. I used to end my emails with. It's real funny. I'm finna expose myself. I used to write my emails, and this is back in the day when like Jay-Z was super hot, and they used to say holla, right? So I used to write my emails, and I used to write holla, and then dash Luya. Yeah, I almost became that guy.
That's fantastic.
But I didn't full on go into the deep end of the pool. So JP, thank you so much for chiming in on this, brother.
No problem.
Does anybody else want to chime in on this before we switch the topic? We're going to talk about some other stuff. I got one more meme I want to react to. But if anybody has anything else that's in the Zoom call, let me know. I see Pedro's in here. I see Bass is in here. So if you guys gonna want to add to this, if not, then let's switch topics, go into some questions. Grandma Joe asked earlier if we're doing any questions. Yeah, we are. I just wanted to open with something a little lighthearted. Yeah, hallelujah. Yeah, I was that guy. Hallelujah. Oh my goodness. Praise God for mentors, man. Praise God for discipleship. Praise God for just amazing people. So anyway, Zoom call. If you guys want to chime in, throw your hand up. Participant, just hit participants to throw your hand up. If my internet working better, I definitely can. It's pulled up in the Zoom call. Eric, they're different brand. What are we talking about? I missed it. Oh, real quick before we go into that, Grandma Joe, you had a question about something else? Okay, I'm gonna pin you up. Just give me 1 second, and I'm gonna come to you in just a second. I wanted to let you guys know, those of you guys that are here on a Sunday night, it means y'all are hard body ones. I want to let you guys know that we have an upcoming merch drop that's coming in the next few weeks, and it's going to be the Bless God collection, as well as this new collection called Love What You Do. Now I'm gonna be doing a lot of content explaining Love What You Do. There's a song called Love What You Do that's on the way. And so what you could do right now, if you want to kind of cut the line, we're just gonna go to our Patreon community first. They're gonna get their discount. But if you want to cut the line, you could purchase a gift card on the store right now. And so this is a preview, exclusive preview. I haven't posted this anywhere, of some of the upcoming merch that we took. This is probably gonna be, I didn't mean to do that. That's gonna be the cover. And Levi even worked in there. He directed some of the photography. He actually made some money yesterday, believe it or not. He's 6. Made some money yesterday Friday for working. So shop.kingsdreament.com. This is probably going to launch in August. We're just finalizing some of the releases. This is just a preview of the mocks. And then we have some full-on color schemes. This is one of the color schemes. So it's still getting worked out, but I wanted to let you guys know, if you are been asking, and again, the Bless God stuff is going to be a part of this. Different color schemes, different pieces. So let me go to Grandma Joe, pin her up here. All right, you are live, and go for your question. I'm going to eat my turkey evening snack, okay? By the way, a great treat for those of you guys that, looking for something healthy to eat, just turkey at night. Go ahead, Grandma Joe.
Am I live? Am my mic on?
You're live. We hear you loud and clear. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Okay, a couple questions. The first one is, I just wanted to throw it out for conversation, that when I became a Christian early on, it was with the guitars in the coffee shops and the singing the songs and the meet and greet kind of thing. And I was just told that all I had to do was believe and I would be saved. And so you believe and get baptized. And then I spent the rest of my, 20 years not being taught that there had anything to do with obedience or my walk or sanctification or any of that. So I just thought that would be interesting to kind of talk about if other people felt that way and had that experience, because I know you guys are all talking about sort of this subculture. When I was much older in my adult life and a women's group, and I was, kind of with that voice at your quiet time that said, well, what's the difference of my faith now and then? And it was my willingness to obey and actually read the word, walk it out,
Yeah.
live it out.
What year did
So
you get saved, and where
that
were
was my
you?
first question.
What year were you saved, and where were you? I'm curious.
Oh my gosh, like 15.
Okay.
And I'm 60s now. So back 15, coffee shop kind of thing. Like I said, got baptized right away. Did some testimonial type things, with the kids in the group.
What area? Like what part of the country?
Oh, sorry. That was Hawthorne, California.
Okay, so this is the part of the Jesus movement. This is the hippie Jesus movement. This is around the time of Calvary Chapel, around the time, am I following along correctly? Around the time of Vineyard, as all those movements were starting, right?
Sooner, much earlier than that.
Before that. But I mean, who was the big voice in that movement? He passed away in 93, and they kind of wrote him out of the history books. Lonnie Frisbee.
Wow, I didn't even know that voice.
Yeah, Lonnie, if you guys want to go down a really interesting rabbit hole, Lonnie Frisbee, holy smokes. I learned about him in the Rise and Fall of Mars Hill documentary series. Lonnie Frisbee was an American charismatic evangelist. He came up under Chuck Smith, the Calvary movement. Then they left, his branch left and started the Vineyard movement. And then I think they broke away and started another movement. And this dude was, this is on the back end of like the hippie stuff. And this is one of the biggest moves of God we've seen in North America, is the generation that you got saved in, probably because they remained hippies. Like they got saved, but they remained hippies. They didn't start dressing different. They didn't cut their hair. They didn't start listening to different genres of music. They remained hippies. They just became radical for Jesus. And the whole story of Lonnie Frisbee is really interesting. I learned about him on the 3rd episode of the Rise and Fall of Mars Hill podcast, and then I went down a crazy rabbit hole. So I wasn't alive then, so I don't know. So, but to your point, Grandma Joe, is that maybe the opposite of what I'm talking about is you get saved and we don't tell you to repent, right? You get saved, you get baptized, and you just believe, and no one tells you to repent, to be discipled, right? Yeah, and unfortunately, those of you guys that want to go down that documentary about Lonnie Frisbee, you will discover that that is actually how his life played out, that he continued down this path of being a closeted homosexual man while being married, and it ended tragically. While he was still wrestling with his flesh, it ended tragically with him catching AIDS and dying in 1993. So super tragic story. So that could almost be the figurehead of that movement, or one of the figureheads of that movement, kind of lived out what you're describing, which is justification without sanctification. It's all heart, no head, no discipline, right? The Lonnie Frisbee stuff is nuts, guys. So that's why it's so interesting that you talk about this, Grandma Joe, because I was just thinking about folks who came up in this movement. Now, for context, one of my elders is Pastor Don Absher, who was Lonnie Frisbee's really close friend, who was Mike McIntosh's first close friend, who planted Horizon Church out here, who was around Chuck Smith and all these guys. And Don is the total opposite. Don loves Jesus. Don walks in holiness. He's been married to the same woman for 50 years. His kids are incredible, amazing, godly kids. One of his kids is a professional surfer, runs a huge surfing brand. His daughter ended up getting saved, and she married a famous musician and Christian musician. I don't want to reveal the identities, but so I've also seen the opposite. I've seen the opposite of men who came out of that movement and were godly and had incredible families, and just talking about legacies of followers of Jesus. The great-grandkids are going to be following Jesus because of Don. So your question is, what happens when someone doesn't tell you to get discipled? Is that more or less the question? And how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, I think it's just a very difficult problem that I find even in today's time, that all of this come to the altar, be saved, no follow-up, no connection, and just no real down-to-earth walking the walk. That community that you're talking about on all of your streams, when you talk about get connected with the church, get connected with the community, you know, that's where it's all about. And that's how you get the help that you need when you need it. And that's how you get wise counsel. And that's how you get mentorship and all of the things that really matter in our faith.
Yeah, that's good.
To keep us from the legalistic way of living, and to keep us from the far end on the other one, where everything is permissible.
Lawlessness,
the both extremes, and that's what you need. And
so
I didn't have it, but you know, definitely God was looking out for me. I can look back and see all of the pieces that fell into line, but literally I was an adult. So you're talking, you know, 10 to 15 years before reaping the benefit of the word of God, of truly reaping the benefit of the word of God.
Yeah. So here's how I look at it. And it's just my perspective. One, I encourage people all the time to pray for community and pray for people to come into their life and disciple them. I've prayed that for friends. I've prayed that for my wife. When we first started dating, my wife did not have a ton of sisters in the faith. She had some kind of mentors, but not a ton of sisters. My wife's community now, like her circle of women, is way more popping than my circle of men that I see on a regular basis. And I feel like it's because I've been praying. I prayed for that for a very long time, for her to have strong Christian women that could pour into her. So one, I encourage people to pray for that community. I prayed for that community. God sent me the right people at the right time, and like were incredible for me. I got a video coming out about how to find a good local church tomorrow. I streamed it on Friday and I trimmed it. So I got a video coming out on that. I streamed it on Saturday. So one, I would say, hey, pray for that. Two, I would say, if you're in a seeker-friendly church, if you're in a huge mega church, right, I would look at that as an opportunity for the top of funnel approach, right? And I don't mean to go like secular marketing terms, but just try to follow me. Is in marketing, there's a top of funnel, there's a middle funnel, and then there's the bottom funnel where a sale actually happens. So a lot of what we're seeing in advertising is like that top of funnel. TikTok is a top of funnel approach. Going viral on YouTube is a top of funnel approach. And then you move people further along if you're trying to sell them a product to through the funnel. You don't start with trying to sell them something. You wait until there's rapport, and then you move them into something else on an email list or on a text messaging list, and then you move them down to actually trying to convert them on something. So I would look at the mega church, the seeker church, not as, oh, those are just all lawless, void of anything godly movements. Some of them are, but the vast majority of them, I think, are trying to do their best. And I would say, okay, cool. I got saved in a mega church. I got saved in a mega church, right? And I started a ministry and I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. And 6 months later, the ministry we were doing is thriving. It outgrew the youth group. They didn't have a youth pastor. And when the youth pastor came on, he told the head pastor about what we were doing. And the head pastor was like, this doesn't fit the vision of our church. We don't want anything to do with it. You guys got to stop doing it. And I'm like, yo, there's 80 to 100 kids showing up every Thursday, hearing the gospel, getting fed out of my own money, because I was working at Pizza Hut, so I was getting discount pizza. And this doesn't fit the vision of it. I was deeply hurt by that. But I prayed that prayer that God would send me men to disciple me. And so I was positioned to then transition to a smaller church that wasn't a mega church with thousands of people and gajillions of dollars of budgets and fancy buildings. We were meeting out of the San Marcos Civic Center, and we just had a back office space that had this little backstage area, and we just transplanted the ministry, and it grew and it became even bigger. And at the peak, we were doing concerts with 800 to 1,000 people showing up and hearing about the gospel. We were getting some of the biggest independent non-Christian bands and groups to come in and do clean sets and sandwich that with Christian bands, and people were hearing about Jesus. And till this day, people still look back at those events in this area. So I think if you were in that situation, if you're in that situation now, if you're in a mega church or you're not in a church, look at the opportunity as a top of funnel. You're hearing some gospel. It may not be the complete gospel, but you're hearing something about Jesus. And I do believe it's the same Jesus. I don't believe that there's a gajillion different Jesuses. I think there are definitely cults and there are definitely false religions that have a different Jesus. But I think more or less the mainline Christian churches here are talking about Jesus, just the methodology is not the most conducive, to your point, to discipleship. And so I would look at it, and this is what happens here. So here we have a church called the Rock Church, huge mega church. Miles McPherson, friend of mine, dear friend of mine. I could never be a member of the Rock Church. What happens at the Rock Church? People get saved. Miles is an amazing evangelist. People get saved, they hear the word of God, and then you know what they do? They meet other people in the church and go and get plugged into smaller churches. They'll serve at that church for a while, then they go plant. And there's been dozens of church plants from the Rock Church, not supported by the Rock Church, or at least not to my knowledge, but there's a ton of people that come out of the Rock Church, worship leaders. And so the Rock Church almost becomes like this boot camp for the worship, the talented worship leader in an area to get on staff and get his chops up, playing in front of 3,000-4,000 people, a service. Then he goes and he does a church plant. He get, you know, the preacher who can preach okay at a youth group. Miles McPherson is sitting there letting him preach in front of 3,000-4,000 people 5 times a Sunday. That gets somebody's chops up. And all these guys then go and plant their own churches. And then now we have dozens of smaller churches that people actually are getting plugged into and are getting shepherded and are getting discipled. So I think it's an issue of not right or wrong, but perspective. To me, anyone hearing the gospel, as Paul said in Philippians, anyone hearing the gospel, even if it's coming from false motives or questionable motives, I'm rejoicing that the gospel is being preached, even if it's in a method that I'm like, but no one's, you know, you got this big altar call and this emotional moment, but there's no follow-up. You're not plugging people into small groups. They're not getting discipled. Yes, Billy Graham said at the peak of his thing, when there were hundreds of thousands of people at these rallies, I'm sure you remember Billy Graham, that less than 3% of them ever became accounted for in any type of church. So there's massive proclamations of faith and these moments where everyone's flooding the stadium for this altar call, but 3% of people were actually plugging into churches, you know, and that's a bummer. Like, that's a real bummer. And so I hear you, and I think you're right. I think the solution to that is honestly community outside of just a mega church, looking for community outside of just a mega church. Is that a fair answer? I think that's a reasonable response to that dilemma.
Yeah, I think it's right on. I just do think it stimulates to the far left, far right mentality of Christianity, where these people walk like I said, the legalism, because they don't know the word, they're not in it, they don't have the counselship, so they hear something or somebody tells them something and then they run with that. Yeah. And so
they got the Jesus part right, and then the sanctification part is real messy. It's either legalistic or it's lawless. And I think you're totally right about that. Yeah, I think you're totally right about that. Does anybody else who's in a Zoom call have a question right now? If you do, throw your hand up, or participants, hit the participant, throw your hand up. If not, I'm going to let Grandma Joe, I think you had a second question, unless somebody else. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just real quick, and then there's also throw something onto the Patreon later. I've been, I think I mentioned to you the first time we talked that I've been plant-based. I'm converted plant-based. So I changed my whole life at 63. So
as I'm eating turkey meat
for a couple of months, and I'm doing really well. I've dropped my blood sugar almost 20 points during the day and the fasting as well. So
amazing.
Definitely having results, lost some weight, just feeling better, energy levels stable. But what I wanted to ask you, what made you decide, because it was a lot of, kind of like the YouTube creator thing, lots and lots and lots of hours of research on YouTube. What made you decide versus the Mediterranean, the paleo, the keto, all the different sort of fad diets? Because mine's not just plant-based, it's whole food plant-based. I'm really trying to stay more unrefined and that kind of stuff, unprocessed food.
Respect.
What made you pick that particular one?
My wife told me we were doing Whole30. And I was like, what's Whole30? Okay. She's like, we're doing it, and you're doing it. And I was like, all right. And then all of a sudden the food was really good, and there was meals all the time, and it was amazing. And I was like, all right, cool. And we did Whole30, and it just sat well on my body. I don't know, it just sat well on my body. She had a cookbook. So, I mean, sweet potatoes, eggs, chicken, lean meat every day, a lot of vegetables, a lot of lean meats. Got it. And it just sat well on me. I've been toying with the idea of trying plant-based. The issue for me is I just don't know how I would get the right amount of protein. For context, I just got edamame because Rich from my Patreon community told me to try edamame. And so I've been doing edamame, and I've been doing that. What I'm actually trying to do right now, Whole 30 is a paleo diet basically, but it's a bit more strict than paleo. It's you can't mix things. So on paleo, like you could have pancakes, you could have comfort food, you could have sweets and dessert. On Whole 30, you're not having comfort food. You're not eating for comfort. You're eating for fuel, and you're doing really basic, simple cooking. So it's very simple, not quite whole foods, but pretty close to it, or not quite raw, but pretty close to it. So I looked at I don't know how I would get my protein if I did anything else, meaning that I don't know how I would get enough protein from plants to go plant-based. And so I just started eating edamame as a snack, but even that's more high in carbs. Like for me, so what I'm actually trying to do now, believe it or not, is I'm actually in the middle of a cut, but I'm not going as radical, because when I did Whole 30, I lost a lot of weight, cutting out the bread, cutting out the sugar, cutting out the grains, cutting out the processed food, cutting out the potatoes, cutting out the rice, cutting out the pasta. But the moment I would go travel, or the moment I would, then boom, I would gain 5 or 10 pounds right away, because your body reaches this thing called homeostasis. And it's when your body says, oh, you're gonna feed me 1,500 calories a day? Sweet, this is what I'm gonna live on. This is the new normal. I'm not losing any more fat. This is what and then the moment you have a 3,000 calorie weekend, your body just goes, blah, I'm putting all the weight and the water back on. So I said, you know what, let me not try to go radical. And I was watching my trainer, who's 50, looks amazing. He's been on the channel before. And I was watching the way he was eating, and he was still having rice every day. He was still having meat, fatty meat sometimes. He would still have all kinds of stuff, but he did it slower, and then when he could still go out and have the slice of pizza or a couple slices of pizza once a month. He could still have bread, he could still have rice, pasta. So that said, you know what, let me slow down, because I could do a cut and just eat no carbs and all protein and all greens, and then over time I could do it in a month, but let me do it over 4 months. And that's just kind of what's been working for me. But I'm also learning so much of this is also hormonal, and it's also testosterone levels, and it's not just as simple as like, well, you just gotta eat cleaner foods or less food or whatever. That there's hormonally, there's a lot that's going on. And in my case, I just hit 205. I didn't know what was going on, and then I just learned that a lot of this stuff is connected to my wife lactating and creating milk, and a man's body puts on weight to prepare for sleep deprivation around having children. So if you ever know anybody that was skinny and then they had a lot of kids back to back to back to back, they're usually 50 pounds on the other side of that. And unless you're just like a freak athlete or genetically free, just a beast, more or less people put on a lot of weight, or men specifically, around having kids. And it's because the testosterone levels get low. So there's a lot of men walking around here with just low testosterone that don't know, women with lower testosterone than they should have. And it's affecting their mood and affecting their ability to lose fat. Anyway, so I go on a whole rabbit hole, because I'm actually walking this out and trying to figure out how much of this is hormonal, how much of this is my sleep, how much of this is my discipline, how much of this is my eating, how much of this is my training, and finding that balance in all of it. Because I think it's more than just eating. I think it's all the above. Activity levels, sleep, hormonally, your cortisol levels. Are you stressed out? Are you getting good sleep? Or do you get good REM sleep, right? All of these things add up, and I think they matter.
I think that's really wise counsel. And actually, you were the one, like I told you last time, that you're the one that sort of triggered that. Lord put it on my heart, but you were the one that's like, so what do you do about this and that and the other things? So you really helped challenge me for that. So you challenged me in a lot of areas.
That's awesome. Joanne, one of the things I encourage people to do, I just encouraged one of my brothers, he's in his late 40s, early 50s today. He's like, man, I'm having trouble. I think I'm going to go plant-based. And I said, do me a favor, go get your testosterone checked before you go plant-based. And what I'm finding is my friends that are 50, 60, so many folks have low testosterone, and they don't know that they're walking around with this cloud over them, and they think it's depression and whatever, and it's actually just a chemical imbalance. And so my wife's best friend, one of my really close friends, friends and family, their parents just told me, yeah, I don't know what was going on. We were struggling in our marriage, got their tested, found out that their test was like astronomically low, got on a TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. They're in their, I think in their mid 50s, late 50s, something like that. And they said within a matter of weeks, everything changed. She said, and I quote this, she said, "It's like I got my husband back." They were on the verge of divorce. And then she said, and these are Christians really going through it. "It's like I got my husband back." And she said a lot of other stuff, but I remember that like just jumping out to me. And I said, this testosterone thing is much deeper than we think it is. And especially in our society when we're sitting down and we're not naturally active, I think it all connects. So I would encourage everybody, if you're going through depression, if you aren't feeling good and you have access to healthcare, go get your testosterone levels checked. And you might be shocked that what you're actually dealing with isn't depression or mental illness, that there's something chemically off, and that's why you're having trouble with the weight and the anxiety and all these different things. It's more chemical and less mental health.
I appreciate that. Ruslan,
Go ahead.
on the Patreon masterclass side, not here on this channel, but would you sort of email me when you have a second on what are some links to some good like stickers and watermarks, like beating hearts and, different things like that without having to go to Google and search every single image and go through an hour and a half of if it's free and if I can use it and all of that.
For thumbnails or for what?
Subscribe and a bell. But if you could just, not now because it's not this subject, but based on our masterclass relationship, if you could just shoot me an email link or something that tells me where I could get some of those.
Yep. So we look out for this. We're going to do a separate Zoom call just for that class. And Zach is going to be gone this week, so it'll probably happen either the first week of August. And we'll go over all that. And if you can, just remind me, and we'll figure it out. But you should have a subscribe button and a like button in your assets. I'm pretty sure we provided one for you. So you went down and did all that, but you should have one already in that assets folder. I'm 95% sure that that's in there. But we will do a separate thing because we're going to revamp the course. And so everybody in it, we're going to use you guys' feedback to make it better and add modules and everything you're talking about. So just watch out for that. And if you don't hear about it, just email me or DM me on the Patreon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Joanne. It's Grandma Joe, guys. All right, Pedro, you're live. I appreciate your patience, my man. Thank you so much.
It's good, man. It's good. It's good to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
Okay?
I can hear you fantastically. Where are you from, bro?
Well, I live in the U.S. in Atlanta for like 4 years, and I'm back to Chile because we decided to stay with the family.
Nice.
I have 3 kids, so
congratulations.
We decided, be with the grandpas and grandmas and try to grab the identity of, our roots.
Yeah.
It was super important.
What time is it in Chile right now?
For what?
What time is it in Chile right now?
It's almost like 1 a.m.
In Chile?
Yeah.
You guys have a full day? Oh, okay. Wait, are Chile's...
It's like EST, same as EST.
Got it. Okay. I thought you guys were in a totally different time zone. Okay, my fault, man. What's your question, brother?
So my question is basically, it's funny because I see the Patreon and I immediately think about the questions, and it's related to this, this theme about the worldly stuff and Christian stuff. Mm-hmm. For my side, I'm just Christian from the 23 years old, so I was almost street knowledge until then, and I raised almost like by myself in the streets. Even both parents are artists. I raised a lot, and I appreciate the street knowledge. I think it's pretty important, and I think it's something that Christian does not have, and it's super important to have it. I think in life, to struggle and to have this street knowledge of what's going on in the world.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So I'm now in a position that I'm really good with my financial and my investments and all that.
Okay.
And I start to thinking about doing trading, and I was learning a lot. So basically, I have an animation studio. So my time is between the animation studio that I own with this investment and music. So, but I have this, this spiritual conflict about the day trading, and if that's something that Christians should do or should not do.
Day trading, like on the stock market.
Yeah, it's almost like more crypto than stock market, but it's the same concept.
Got it.
It's pretty the same concept.
Got it.
And I was struggling with this concept, and I started doing fasting because I believe a lot in fasting, and I started listening God, right? And I have this dichotomy of thinking, and one morning I wake up and God like advised me, or I had this feeling about compound interest, and how I can just with 2% of increasing each trade or each day, I can have in 200, I can have, uh, money at the end.
Sure.
But I was thinking, and I want to have this conversation with you and with the guys about that, about if that's something that is almost in a different realm, it's almost in a different environment. If that will affect in some way, what do you think?
Yeah,
about it?
well, first of all, I love that you're inviting God into this conversation and into this dilemma for yourself. I think that is what we're supposed to do, right? Like, we're supposed to go seek the scriptures. We're supposed to go and pray about things. And what is the scripture saying? We're supposed to go and seek wise counsel and get advice, mentors, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's awesome that you're doing. I don't think in this conversation you're going to get like a black or white answer on all the details of this type of situation. I think what you're asking me is a wisdom question, right? Like, is it wise for Christians to do day trading? That is the question. And I think the simpler question is it wise for the average person or for people to do day trading? Right, and then my question would be, well, what kind of people? Where do they? Who knowledge do they have? What information do they have? What's the motivation behind what they're doing? Are they trying to get rich quick, or are they trying to build wealth over time? Because the scriptures are clear about don't try to get rich quick. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. So, if I'm honest, and this is my opinion. This is not me saying I'm speaking on behalf of the scriptures. If I'm thinking about the scripture saying don't try to get rich quick, Proverbs, and I think Thessalonians, First Timothy talks about not wanting to get rich quick. If we're talking about the scriptures saying don't get rich quick, don't desire that. If I'm being vulnerable and transparent with you, the times I have invested in Ethereum or invested in Dogecoin or Bitcoin, right? It has been Bitcoin. I would say was more like, let me hedge my bets against the rest of the market, right? The other two, Doge to the moon. Elon's about to be on Doge. We're gonna get to $1 on, like, it was me trying to get rich quick, if I'm fully honest with you. And I didn't lose a gang of money in it, but it wasn't a wise decision in hindsight, right? It wasn't smart for me to do that. And so investors would tell the average person, don't try to play the market. Like, someone like me has no business trying to play the market. I have no business trying to time stocks and keep up in all the, what's going to happen with this. Like, I have no business doing that. I put my money in index funds of technology companies and S&P 500s and like a few single stocks that I believe in. The one of the single stocks, I think I have like 2 or 3, is Gap. I believe in Gap right now. Why do I believe in Gap? Because Kanye just signed a deal with Gap, and Gap, I think, is going to do really well because of Kanye. I have single stock in AT&T because AT&T pays a guaranteed 7% return, which is insane to think about. So if you got $100,000 in AT&T stock, you're getting $7,000 guaranteed a year, not counting what else is generating for you if the stock goes up and down. If you got $1 million, it's guaranteed $70,000, right? So those are stocks that are super boring, super simple. Gap, I think, is going to go up. And so outside of that, bro, S&P 500, I'm doing QQQ, TQQ, ARK. Sometimes I sold on my ARK. I'm trying to get rid of all my Doge. I'm trying to get rid of all my crypto and just maybe keep my Bitcoin. Really, like, I got like maybe 2 or 3% of my portfolio in my Bitcoin, and that's it. Because I think trying to go into something and hoping to, unless you're like a legit hedge fund person and you live in that world and you really know how all that works, and you're like, yo, I got this down to a science. I make $5,000 a month. I know what I'm doing. That's over my pay grade, bro. I don't know nothing about that life. You know what I'm saying? As the average person, the average person has no business day trading.
The thing is, like, I'm obsessive with knowledge. So when I want to do something, I really study in a deep way. I don't do it blindly, you know.
Sure.
My personality is like, I really go into it, and I do a lot of research and find out the way that other people teach
Sure.
And there's a pretty clever scientific way to understand it.
Sure.
At the beginning, it was the same thing, like get rich thing, but God confronted me with that thinking, and it was like totally. I say, okay, if that's not for me, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore.
Good.
That's it.
Good.
But after days and weeks on that, and to having this knowledge about how the things work, I found out a way of little percentages, but in you know what scalping is?
Nah, bro, you're going way over my head, man. You're going way over my head. This is let me just say this. I would just say there is knowledge and wisdom, and then there's knowledge and wisdom that can cause someone to get lucky, and the dangerous part is when people are getting lucky in investment off of speculation. It's not actual wealth building. Right?
Yeah.
Now, someone could argue
speculation.
that our whole market is all speculation and none of it is real and it's all facade and it's all, is Tesla really worth, whatever, $500 billion and they haven't done the same revenue as Toyota? Like, right? It's all speculation, right? But I think there's a more predictable way to build wealth. And so, again, I'm ignorant on it. Like, I don't really know. From watching and listening, most people would say don't put more than 5% in
yes, exactly.
Actually
this is 3-4% each trade.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you go over time, if you put the 3% of your previous trade, right?
Yeah.
It will get you. I mean, this is a plan of almost like a 2 years plan.
Sure.
It's not super quick,
Yep.
But
okay, so you're not really day trading. If it's a 2-3 year plan, that means you're forecasting that the market is going to grow over time. That's different than I'm trading Ethereum at 10 cents to go up. Actually. Yeah. That's a little different. It doesn't matter if
go up and down because what you're doing is like you are putting a trade in this really small amount of change.
Got it. Okay, yeah. What you're doing is a little different than that. So I would say, man, keep doing what you're doing. Keep fasting, keep praying, keep seeking God. Look at everything the scriptures say about money, sowing and reaping. And I think that's a decision between you and God, bro. Because I don't think anybody, I'm trying to get out of my crypto. Like, I'm like, gosh, Elon kind of messed it up for us. That's like the energy I'm on. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Too high energy. It's too high energy.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to get out of it. I probably hold on to a little bit of it, but if I'm honest, man, I was trying to get a quick flip, and I did. I made some money. I probably made like $4,000 flipping Doge, and then after that, I was like, man, I think I'm over it. You know what I mean? Let me. So like I balanced out basically the money I made in comparison to my losses. Now they balanced out. But had I just put that money in QQQ or TQQ or S&P 500, I probably would have made way more than that.
Yeah.
So let me let you go, brother. Let me bring in some more people. I'm gonna go into Bats. I appreciate you so much for being here, Pedro. I'm gonna go to Bats, and then I'm gonna go to John, and then I'm gonna go to JP. So I appreciate you guys' patience. Bats, what's up, brother? Talk to me.
Yo, what's good, bro?
Chilling, man. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate it, bro. My question is a little kind of unrelated to everything we were talking about.
No worries. All these questions are unrelated.
Yeah. My question is just like, I just want to see your perspective. Like, what are some things in CHH that you like you're happy to see that we're doing, and what's some things that you think we could do better?
Okay, CHH is Christian hip hop. Those of you guys that don't know, I come from first being a full-time Christian hip hop artist. Meaning that before I started getting busy on YouTube, I was doing Christian hip hop, and so it's always going to be my roots, always going to be my foundation. I love Christian hip hop. Bats is an amazing Christian hip hop artist. Things that I love that are happening in Christian hip hop. I love that there's collaboration happening. I love that there's more artists and there's more variety. I love that there is more seemingly collaboration between camps and festivals. I think that's really important in terms of any genre of music. And I would say those are amazing. Those are amazing things. Things I don't like in Christian hip hop is I still think there's this scarcity mentality, and it's evidenced most by everybody trying to compete for the same fans, and not enough people taking advantage of the platforms like TikTok, like you are, like Nick D is, like Paul Russell is, right? So there's a handful of folks that are actually really doing it and getting it and going on way beyond the Christian hip hop subgenre. And then there's other people that still operate in this, like, I gotta go get the opening slot on Winter Jam or Rock and Roll Winter Tour, or like these like CCM things. And I don't like that. I think that's thinking very small. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. So the other things I don't like, I am not a fan of some of the behind the scene, not everyone, because there are definitely like stand-up brothers that are in the community, guys like KB, guys like Stephen Malcolm, dudes that like really about following Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And they're really like, you're getting the real deal from them in their music, you're getting the real deal from them. But I feel like there is this disconnect, and it's like this, I don't know, I feel like there's this like flippant nature towards sin, and just kind of an acceptance of struggling. I guess this is just my cross to bear. I'm going to be depressed. I guess I'm just always going to struggle with relationship issues and having girl drama. Guess I'm just always going to struggle financially and being broke, not knowing how to handle my money. I guess I'm just never going to plug into a local church. This is just it for me. And that I think is not cool. And that's probably my biggest gripe within Christian hip hop, is there was once a time where people were really, 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 really about living holy. And I think the more we got away from the legalism of how the music had to be made, which I think was necessary, we unfortunately got away from the desire for holiness and the desire
compensated.
Yeah, like, so it's like, yeah, it's dope. We get it. You don't got to rap about Jesus in every song. You don't got to say Jesus in every verse. You don't got to drop a Bible verse. That's fine. Respect. But like, are you reading your Bible every day? Like, are you praying every day? Like, if you're gonna brand yourself as a Christian, anything, at least be consistent about that. Like, be Christian, be surrendered to Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Follow Jesus. So I would say that's I think when a culture swings from extremes, same thing we were talking about, legalism to lawlessness, same thing. And in response to that, there's now camps that are intentionally legalistic against the rest of Christian hip hop. Y'all ain't doing it right. Y'all ain't really preaching the gospel. We really out here, right? Like, there's that pushback to some of that. So I think finding that balance is key, man. And I think it's so many different variables. Generally speaking, I'm happy with where we're going because I'm happy with the new faces and the new examples. So like, I think you and Nick, I think are great emerging examples of what things can be. You know what I'm saying? What things can be and like where things can go. Because you have an audience that's not just exclusively connected to Rapzilla. You know what I'm saying? And connected to Rapzilla fans and whatever. Yeah, man. So I don't know if that answers, if that's a good answer, or if you have a follow-up question.
Yeah, it was.
Would you concur in terms of some of my critiques? Do you see some same things?
It's kind of funny, like, especially on some things that you were touching on, like how we're being a little too lenient or letting things go, like with the sin and all that. That's I'm seeing it firsthand. It's more and more I dig into the space and start working with more people. So yeah, man, I agree with everything that you said there.
Yeah, here's an example. You've met enough people, Bats. How many Christian rappers have you met that within a few minutes of being in their presence, they start cussing and they don't talk like that online?
A shell shot.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the N-word. I'm not talking about the N-word. I'm talking full on. They dropping the F-bomb. They full on cussing, and it's like, fam, okay, if this is what you want to, if this is who you gonna be, and you think this is okay, then just be that all around. Like, be that guy. Like, be the guy on social. Be the guy on your Instagram. Really own that. Like, if this is the liberty that you're gonna be that. But don't be incongruent. Don't be two different people, right? And there are guys that like, I respect propaganda, even though I disagree with him on some theological things. I respect him for being the same person online as he is in real life. Like, I respect him for that. You know what I'm saying? But I think there's way more people that are like that behind the scenes, and their persona is different. And it's like, y'all either got to just be congruent or like be okay with losing this church money. You know what I'm saying? Or not be that way in your private life, right? And I think if there's anything I hope to be is the same person, right? Now, granted, I'm going to talk a little different when I'm with my son. when my kids, around my wife. But more or less, when people come around me, like, I'm the same guy, Bats. I'm the same guy you see here. I'm the same guy when you kick it with me and my family. I'm going to be the same guy on that stage. I'm going to be the same guy when I lay my head down. I'm going to be the same guy in the gym. I'm not going to talk different. I'm not going to act different. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is an issue to me. Like, that and it's not about cussing. It's not the issue is cussing a sin. That's not the issue. The issue is, why are you two different people right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you two different people right now? I don't like that. I don't like that. I talk about this stuff privately. Like, I definitely be telling dudes, you know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, that's why I don't be invited to hang out with the cool kids sometimes. That's, you know, because I'm not finna filter it. You not finna filter and cuss crazy and talk crazy in front of me. Like, I'm finna tell you, like, bro, that's whack. You corny. Like, you corny. You trying too hard to be cool. Like, when you weren't at the cool kids table in high school, so now you want to be the cool guy in the Christian circle and be the guy that's brash and cuss and say things like, get out of here, man. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was at the cool kids table in high school, and all the cool kids grew up and think that I'm the cool guy because I'm Christian and I don't be cursing and talking crazy in front of them.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I feel it. Yeah, I'm see that more and more, man. It's funny that you're saying all that. So yeah, I agree 100%.
Appreciate you, Bats. Let me go to my man John. Sorry guys, I don't mean to like just be exposing like Christian hip hop like that, but this is stuff that like behind the scenes I've been dealing with for a while. John, talk to me, brother. Thank you for being here.
What's up, my man?
Chilling. What is your question, good sir?
My question for you, my brother, is my girlfriend. I hate to put her out on the spot like that because she's staring at me over here, but anyhow, she's an atheist, all right?
Okay.
And I'm a full-blown Christian. She's kind of converted in a way, but I just want to kind of give her something to kind of trigger her home. You know what I mean? I'm like, she's starting to believe a little bit. She was raised that way, I guess. She never really went to church when she was a kid or whatever. You know, she's a good-hearted lady. She's awesome, but I don't know how to say this. I'm not trying to throw it at her, but she knows how I am. She knew that I was saved before we even got together, but she hasn't been to church with me yet, and it's that and the other. She's always making excuses, but I see that I've caught her a few times checking out my Bible and stuff, and I'm like, oh, so you're trying to learn. She's like, maybe. I just want to give her some kind of scripture. I should know this, but from you, I mean, you've been doing it. Been a Christian longer than I have. I've backslid, but anyway, I'm back, and I'll never go back. But anyhow, is there some kind of scripture I could give her to kind of like wake her up a little, or am I just telling something that you can't figure out?
Well, John, thank you for being vulnerable, man, and asking this. This would be an amazing clip on its own, but I'm not gonna make it a clip on its own. This would be a great YouTube moment because this is an amazing question. Let me ask you. I'm gonna ask you a hard question. Okay. How much time do you spend praying for her and praying that God would reveal Himself to her?
Can you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
How much time do you spend praying for your girlfriend that God would reveal Himself to her?
Since the moment I met her.
Okay, so you pray for her more than you tell her what to believe, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that is amazing. Any conflict I ever have in my relationships, especially with my girlfriend who became my wife, I spend substantially more time praying for them than I do nagging them about me being right or about what this being right or what church we need to go to or what she needs to believe about this thing. So I think for starters, John, your heart's in the right place. If you're sincerely spending more time praying for her and interceding for her and that God will reveal Himself to her, that is fantastic, and I commend you for that, brother. So well done that you're praying and continue praying for her. John, I think you have to know that salvation and God there is no magic bullet. You're talking about people's hearts, you're talking about people's souls, you're talking about people's wills. And the best thing we could all do is pray for her. Now, if I'm going to give you some practical resources, I can send you a video that I was just showing my nephew and my niece. And it's a video actually on Alan Parr's channel about 3 proofs, three ways to prove God exists without using the Bible. 3 ways that prove God exists without using the Bible. And I think if she's an atheist or professing atheist, I think first we have to just start with, like, does God exist? If God exists, then miracles are possible. If miracles are possible, then the New Testament accounts have been preserved and it's reliable. And if miracles are possible, then Jesus bodily raising from the grave is possible. So I focus on Jesus and God. I don't try to convince them of 6-day creation, or you have to accept everything the Bible says in the Old Testament, or whatever thing. Let's just talk about Jesus. Did Jesus live? Did Jesus die? And did Jesus rise? Because if he rose, that has radical implications on every human being, not just you wanting your girlfriend to get saved because you want her to be a Christian. But we're talking about now every person has to wrestle with, what does this mean for this God-man to come on earth, to live a perfect life, to die, and to rise? If that really happened, which I think history is on our side as followers of Jesus, if that really happened, that changes everything for everyone. And that's what I would focus on. Is you could start from let's talk about some non-biblical examples of why God, and I'll send you all these videos on why God exists. We're not even going to use the Bible, and then we're going to say, but by the way, the New Testament is reliable, and the accounts of Jesus rising is reliable. So if he rose, that then proves that God exists, and that then proves that Jesus is the way. Thank you so much, The Sunshine. The book that really sealed the deal for me, there was 2 books that I completely surrendered my life. One of them was a more academic book called The New Evidence That Demands a Verdict by Josh McDowell. And that's kind of lofty. It's a huge book that just every single religion, every single worldview, the evidence for everything, it goes through it. And then another book, a simpler book, is A Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. Completely changed everything for me. A Case for Christ. And there's a documentary of that book out and an actual theatrical movie of that book out. And A Case for Christ is about an atheist journalist who was hell-bent on disproving his wife's Christianity wrong and tried to disprove the resurrection, and in the process gets radically saved, converted, and becomes one of the biggest apologists, one of the biggest defenders for our faith. His name is Lee Strobel, and Lee Strobel's still alive, and it's an incredible story. So there's an actual movie, like a great movie done, and there's a documentary, and there's a book. So maybe see if you guys could just watch that movie together. Yo, let's watch this Case for Christ movie, and let's see what you think about it, right? Just start there. I'm not trying to convince anybody of, like, you have to take everything that Christianity has ever done or all of it. Just Jesus. Like, where are you at with Jesus? If you believe in Jesus, cool. And then hey, you know, if I'm now a part of this family, if I now get adopted into this family, if I don't know, I meet Bill Gates tomorrow and Bill Gates adopts me as one of his surrogate sons, and then Bill Gates says, hey, by the way, we do this family reunion and everybody comes together. Like, I'm gonna want to go to that family reunion if now I'm an heir to the throne of Bill Gates. That's all church is. That's all church is. We're just coming together. We're now heirs. We're now adopted into this family. Why would I not do that? Like, why would I not want to find a great church, a great family that then connects me with each other, and I get to learn more about my new heritage, my new identity as a follower of Jesus, someone that was crafted in to his people.
I like your analogy, bro.
Yeah.
She does like movies. She likes books too. So,
okay.
We're going to check those out.
John, start with The Case for Christ. If you can, message me on Patreon or message me on Instagram, and I'll send you a few other videos, and you could just check those out. But watch that. I mean, and that way, at least you guys are like watching a movie, and it's fun, and it's not like we're gonna talk about the historical account of Jesus literally rising from the grave. Like, no, just like watch a movie. It's a great movie. Like Case for Christ is just a fire movie. Let alone like it is a true story, and the guy's still alive, and he's still writing books, and he's still debating atheists till this very day. You know, so I'm gonna send you those links, man. Thank you so much for your question, John. What a cool story, man. Would you mind if I made this its own video or nah? Like, because I would love to put this out as its own video.
Bro, you can do whatever you want to, man. I'm all for it. I accept it. I will say this too. I've been watching you for a while, and you really inspire me by the people that's on there that you got and the way you are. Man, I've got 2 kids that they love her to death, and she has her own kid by, previous relationship. So I think she's slowly coming around, but you gave me a lot to look for to help her.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
like I said, I pray
John,
I pray
what's
to God every
your
day for her.
what's yours and her names? I'm gonna write your names down and be praying for you guys. What's her name? You don't have to give me her last name. Just give me her first name if you can, if that's okay with her.
Yeah, it's fine. Her first name's Destiny.
What is it?
Destiny.
Destiny. That's ironic. Destiny.
Yeah,
All right,
so.
I'm gonna be praying for you guys. I'm writing down your guys' name. I'm gonna be praying for you guys. John, again, the biggest advice I can give you, man, is like let God be God in her life and let the Holy Spirit do his job. Your job is not to save her. Your job is not to convince her. Your job is to tell her about Jesus and live it out and not nag her about it and spend way more time praying for her. Like genuinely get on your knees and pray for her. Don't do it in front of her because that's just gonna be weird. Like she comes in from work and you're like laying there praying, like do it when she's not around. But I would encourage you, man, spend way more time praying for her and let the Holy Spirit do what the Holy Spirit's gonna do. And I'm believing Destiny's gonna come to faith in Jesus, and you guys are gonna, have an amazing family together.
I believe that too, but man, she, like I said, Jesus means everything to me. I mean, I can't even go to that level yet where, to let her know that who Jesus really is, he is God. But, no, as far as like, just getting the basics with her, she's kind of getting it from the crucifixion and the resurrection. She kind of like, she's on the fence about it, but I think she knows. But praying to her more, from praying to her, praying to my God more,
Amen.
Let him know, just give me the words to say and scriptures to read to tell her. I leave my Bible around a lot just for her to look at it. And, like I said, I'm called to reading it, but it'll come around. I'll use everything you're telling me to do. I'll check out those books and stuff.
Okay.
She's watched The Chosen one time with me, though.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Chosen, I cry every time I watch The Chosen, man. The Chosen's incredible.
Yes, sir.
John, thank you so much,
sir.
brother. I appreciate you, man. I'm going to be praying for you. Send me a message on Patreon or on Instagram, and let's stay in touch, brother.
I will, brother. God bless you.
Bye. That's John, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let me go to TJ. All right, TJ. Ooh, TJ with the crispy. TJ ready to really get some YouTube content in. What's up, man? Thank you for being here, TJ.
Can you hear me okay?
No. Can you turn your mic up? It sounds like the gain on your microphone is really quiet. It's probably you probably need a crowd lifter on that. Sure.
Yeah, that's super low gain. Hold on. This. How's that? Any better?
Yeah, it's better.
All right, cool. Yeah, I have like two questions. One's a little shorter. One might be a little longer. We'll see. But so I'm part of a band called Illumination Project. I'm new here, by the way. This is my first time being here. I think I became a patron like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Oh, dope. Thank you, man.
So yeah, super happy with what you're doing, man. It's super cool. But part of a band, and we're about to release a track in a couple weeks with a rapper by the name of Braille.
Yeah. So Braille's a good friend of mine. I've known Braille for.
Yeah, he's sick, dude. He's a great guy. I love him. And so we're about to release a track with him. We're super pumped. It's great. So just looking for tips on promoting that. I mean, we're running ads and doing just the normal promotion stuff that you would do, but this is the first like feature we've ever had from a rapper. So I didn't know if like just this scene's a little different, than the one I run in. We're more like, if you know the band King's Kaleidoscope, we're like more that scene.
Very cool.
So
very cool. I love their stuff.
Would love to hear just stuff on that. And then, I have a second question after that.
Yeah. So the first thing that instantly comes to me, something super simple, is see if you can make Braille a primary artist on the release.
I think so. I think we're good there.
Okay, so just verify that that's a thing, because if you make Braille the primary artist on a release, all of his Spotify followers will get a notification, and it'll be better for the algorithm that way.
Cool.
So that's step one. Step two, make sure you get the song uploaded 3 to 4 weeks out, schedule it, and submit it to the editorial playlist. After that, make sure you're encouraging all your friends and family, all your fans to pre-save it, because that makes sense. And then once they pre-save it, encourage them to listen to it the day it comes out multiple times. There's apps or like little services you can get. I think I use Toned In. I think Toned In does that. I think you can pre-save it, and they send a follow-up email the day it comes out. Because when they pre-save it, it automatically gets added to their playlist, their personal favorites or whatever. But then you still want them to listen to it the day it comes out. Those couple tactics alone will definitely push it up the algorithm hopefully on Spotify, if it's a great song, because that's another thing. A lot of this stuff is AI now. Like they notice how many people finish the song, how many people skip the song, how many people like the song, how many people like and add the song, how many people like add the song and replay the song, how many people text the song. Like all that stuff matters, and it's all AI. So the editorial is an actual person pressing the button to add it to a playlist. AI is, I mean, it has to be a great record. If it's a great record, it'll build on its own. So I would say that. Then I would get into obviously Facebook, Instagram ads. Those are going to be great. Running story ads. But honestly, man, right now, and I say this all the time, the virality, the free virality, is really on TikTok and Instagram Reels.
Yeah, I'll be honest, our TikTok game is not strong. So
I would really consider what you can do to make it strong. I would immerse yourself into TikTok. Because bro, there's plenty of artists that are becoming bona fide platinum artists on the back of TikTok. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
power user. So that's the thing. Like I just don't know how it works, you know. So I'm still learning. We're cracking into YouTube now.
Great.
Which is why we have, you know, all this.
So YouTube's another way. I mean, if you guys can have an interesting podcast, like I think of a band called what was the name of that band that did the Bad Christian podcast?
Emery.
Emery built a whole audience. I would have never heard of Emery if it wasn't for the Bad Christian podcast. And not that I was like this super huge supporter of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't like buying their merch and going to shows, but I at least knew who the name Emery was because they added some value through a podcast. So I think if you guys are on that road, here's the ultimate finesse. This is what Nick D did. Go out. I would encourage you to watch my interviews with Nick D. Nick D immersed himself in TikTok, mastered TikTok. He did a podcast that he natively built for TikTok. And because of that podcast, that like he reversed engineered, I'm making this for TikTok. So because I'm making this for TikTok, it's going to be structured and edited in a way that's natively for TikTok. And when he did that, what happened, TJ, is the channel blew up. It was using the platform differently. The YouTube blew up. I think they grew to like 30,000 subscribers in a month, got the channel monetized.
Yeah.
They started doing $600 a day in merchandise just off of this TikTok podcast. When he then went back to promote his music, people saw his face from multiple viral videos, and then gave his music a shot because he was in the ecosystem of TikTok.
Interesting. That's a cool idea.
Yeah. So my advice is like, man, where I'm spending my resources is not in more cameras or YouTube.
Yeah.
Like like if we're talking top of funnel, how do we just get eyeballs? Man, I'm spending a lot of time thinking about TikTok. I'm spending a lot of time paying for TikTok videos to get made from my YouTube content. I'm spending a lot of resources just trying to master TikTok. Zach is my video guy who helps me with some of our sales and our course. He's coming on staff full time in August. Once he's on staff, I mean, we're going to be pumping out. I'm putting a lot of time and effort into TikTok. And so I would do that. Here's another hack around that. You could be like, bro, that's cool, man, but you don't understand. We're super overwhelmed. There's a lot on our plates. We work jobs. We're busy. Dude, go on TikTok and punch in your city and look for a kid that's already booming on TikTok. And you might find somebody that got 1.5 million followers on TikTok in your neighborhood, TJ. That is broke because they don't have a product. They don't have any music. They don't have a t-shirt. They don't know how to monetize anything. And they're getting $30 for a million views, which is nothing. And then you come along and you say, hey man, how about I pay you $1,000 a month and you make me 10 videos a month? You know what I mean? And you come over and you just help me pump out these videos and you make them natively for TikTok. And I mean, that $1,000 a month for that kid might change his life, and that $1,000 a month for you guys with products, merch, music, it might change the trajectory of your band.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. That's good stuff.
So these are all the investments I'm making. TJ, take everything I just said with a grain of salt because I haven't executed on any of this stuff. I've executed a tiny bit on TikTok. I'm at like 35,000 on TikTok or 33,000 on TikTok. So I'm not like booming on TikTok, but these are the exact same things I'm personally doing. Like I'm like trying to find a kid that lives around the corner that is TikTok famous but broke. How could I help that kid make some money? How could he help me get popping on TikTok?
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, we've done the Facebook and YouTube or not YouTube ads, but Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm pretty well versed in that.
Dope.
So I run all that. But that was a good idea. I'm gonna definitely run with that. My second question was kind of on the merch line, if you got a second.
Sure.
Just as a Christian artist, and also like wearing my marketing hat and understanding like the need to provide for my family. I'm about to have my third kid like any minute. My wife.
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Do you know if it's a boy or a girl?
She's walking and be like, "Hey, we got to go." So if I got to pop off, that's
You're
why.
good. Is it a boy or a girl? Do you guys know?
It's a boy. It'll be 3 boys.
Come on, bro. Praise God.
We're just partying over here.
Come on. How long you been married, TJ?
7 years.
Congratulations. That's amazing, bro. I've been married 13. I just had my 13-year anniversary.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
So because of your marketing hat and you being a provider, do you also work a Joe job?
No, so I have like a small like part-time marketing thing that kind of fulfills like my time. So I actually devote most of my time to the music, and
beautiful,
which has been great. That recently happened during COVID. So
and where do you live?
North Carolina.
Okay, so cost of living is reasonable where you're at.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Not like in Cali and New York and stuff like that.
Okay, so let's talk about merch.
Yeah, so merch. I think the big struggle that I get in my brain, and I know it's only in my brain, but I'm curious how you think about it and how you get over these hurdles. But a lot of times, and you probably know what I'm talking about this, I feel like I'm selling Jesus. You know, like I feel like I'm like, man, like I want you to buy this product, but like I'm also telling you like the story that came out of it, which is all true.
It just got real, guys. It just got real.
But it's a real thing, you know. Yeah. Like I think it's a struggle that I often have that no one's been able to like really answer for me or like tell me that like I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, like buy this T-shirt, it'll support my art, but like at the same time, I'm not gonna change the world, but we're doing something, you know.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm just curious on your thoughts on that.
Oof. That's good. That's a great question. I mean, okay, this is gonna sound bad, and I'm not gonna make this public. Okay, I know people that like literally sell Jesus on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, TJ, they make multiple 7 figures.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm probably more where you're at. Like I'm not putting Jesus blank blank on a T-shirt and building a 7-figure, multi-7-figure business. I just can't bring myself to do that. Like I can't do that. I'm not mad at that person who does that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at that person. He's actually an acquaintance of mine. He's a friend of mine. I'm not mad at that person. I couldn't do that. I think here's the way I think about it. I don't think you're selling people Jesus. If the T-shirt just doesn't say Jesus, right? I don't think you're selling people Jesus. I think you're selling people an experience. You're selling people something deeper than just a T-shirt. You're selling people the ability to buy into your ethos, to understand the vision and mission behind what you're doing. So with that, the T-shirt is just the transaction. That's how I would look at it. Meaning that like people are excited for me to put out merch because there's a gang of new people here that weren't here the last time I did merch in January. So they're hungry for merch. And so even if I were to just put Jesus, Ruslan and Jesus on a T-shirt, or Jesus is my be a follower of Jesus, quote Ruslan, or whatever like cringy thing. Even if I were to do that, what people are really looking for is an opportunity to support you because they understand you. And then the T-shirt or the hoodie is just a means to an end, meaning that even when I was going through our debt-free journey, TJ, following Dave Ramsey being on a strict budget, there was always a budget item in there for clothes.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're not just selling Jesus, you're selling people the opportunity to support a small business instead of going to freaking H&M.
Yeah.
That's different, bro. That's different. So they could either go buy that $25 T-shirt from H&M or they could buy it from TJ. I'm buying it from TJ 10 out of 10 times because I love TJ's heart. I don't know you very well, but like when you drop merch, if you send it to me, I'll probably cop it. I buy a lot of merch just from the homies because you know what I mean? You can never have too many T-shirts. I wear T-shirts to the gym. I wear T-shirts to the mall. I wear T-shirts to lunch. I wear T-shirts to play basketball. I like T-shirts. T-shirts are awesome, right? Yeah. I don't wear a lot of hoodies. So I think with that I think you may need a bit of a mind shift, right? And figure out where that line is for you. I don't know where that line is for you. For me, my merch hasn't been overtly Christocentric until recently, and I did the bless God piece, right? And then, but what I did was I did multiple videos on what it means to bless God. I did multiple Bible studies on what it means to bless God. I did multiple breakdowns, lyric breakdowns, song. I wrote a song called Bless God, right? It felt a little weird initially because I never went that overt, right?
Yeah.
But then when people figured out, oh, bless God means to live your life in a way that blesses God, it's actually in the scriptures. Luke, there's a actual, that phrasing is actually in the Bible. And then the other verse is Romans, where it says, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice. This is your reasonable service. So it's like to bless God is to live a life that brings praise and worship to God. And so then when people understand that, they're like, I want that. Like, I want to represent that. And it becomes an evangelistic tool for somebody to go out and wear a t-shirt. So you see what I'm saying? So you're not selling somebody Jesus. You're selling somebody the opportunity to spark a conversation and tell somebody about Jesus. That's a lot deeper than just like, oh, like I'm an artist and I feel conflicted to make money off of my art, right? You see, you kind of got to get over yourself in that regard a little bit. And so philosophically, that's how I would think about it. And again, bro, I got buddies, man, and I'll tell you who they are offline. And gosh darn it, TJ, they're printing money. They're printing money, but what it is it's a value add, and it's literally evangelism in a t-shirt. And you wear a t-shirt and somebody comes up to you and they, oh, I like your t-shirt, or I don't like your t-shirt. And then it just gives you an opportunity to spark a conversation. I think that's fire. Like, I think that's way deeper than selling people Jesus, in my opinion.
For sure. Cool. No, that was great, man. I loved it.
In terms of the merch, man, just make sure you guys are proofing ideas. And
I actually we brought it all in house a couple months ago.
Okay,
like I have a heat press back here, and we do the whole thing.
Fantastic. So one of the best pieces of advice I got from my friend who prints money and puts Jesus on t-shirts is make sure that you have a proof of concept and test stuff all the time and let people ask for it all the time. Don't print something you think is dope that no one's asked for. Make multiple variations of a piece. And then what do people like? And then sell them that. Right? I'll give you a very good example. I'm doing it right now, TJ. I'm wearing this as a blank that I like. I found this blank and it feels similar to the Justin Bieber Drew blank. I think their stuff is actually sized up, and I love this blank. And I'm wearing this shirt, and I noticed that no one asked about this hoodie, and no one asked about this piece in the chat all night. You know what that tells me? It doesn't tell me that the design is whack. It tells me the design is too small. This is a 3.5-inch design. When I wore this in a different, same exact logo, bigger print, the whole chat was, when's the shirt coming out? Like within the first couple minutes. I'm doing it right now. Oh, this is too small. I got to make this print bigger. I don't like the framing. I'm watching myself and I think the framing is a little too center. So I got to bring the framing a little more right about there and make it a bit bigger. Right. So I'm actually always doing it. I'm always doing it and testing stuff while I'm about to drop to refine stuff. So I would say the same thing for you guys, man. Drop something on Instagram, rock it out, let people ask about it. If no one asks, if you put a thing up and you get 1,000 opens on your Insta story and no one asks about it, bro, that ain't the shirt. Like, don't put that shirt out. You know what I'm saying? And then the main thing I would say is then do a pre-order and let the people fund it. Do a pre-order and let the people fund it. No, never come out of pocket. This is from a great resource for you, Your Marketing Mind. If you haven't heard this already, you should sit with this because this will combine your marketing brain with the business you're building. Seth Godin's Startup School was life-changing for me. And Seth Godin's Startup School is a podcast on the podcast app. It's free, and I think it's like 15 episodes, and he just walks through the entire process. And one of the things in there is you always let the consumer fund the project. You don't take out debt. You don't just go and print 1,000 t-shirts. You let them drive the demand and what they do. And I think that if you do that, bro, you guys are gonna crush merch, and merch could potentially be a 4-figure monthly revenue for you, eventually a 5-figure, and then you're talking life-changing money.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, TJ. Send me a DM on Instagram. I want to check you guys out.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it, man.
All right, brother. All right, JP, my man JP with the last question of the night. Let's get it.
Yeah, well, real quick, I just wanted to respond to a couple of things that TJ brought up. So, I just wanted to say, so I went from the guy who wore like Christian T-shirts because I wanted to like spark conversation. Now I wear band shirts because of the band shirt. Right
Hey,
so
Christian
so
band T-shirts now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, most of the band T-shirts I have are like Christian bands. Which I was gonna say, like, I wanted to respond, like, you guys think the drama in CHH is crazy? You should see the drama inside of like the Christian metalcore scene, because
we gotta talk Christian metal. We gotta talk Christian metal after this, JP. But make your point, because I got a bunch of questions about Christian metal.
Right? No. So I just want to say, like, yeah, dude, like, trust me, like, people will buy the shirt like because they want to support you. That's why I wear the shirts that I wear, because I want to support the artists that I appreciate, that I love. And I definitely want to check the song out. I love Braille. I love King's Kaleidoscope. If you guys need any video work, you should hit me up on Instagram. Jean-Pierre Boudreau is my handle. Anyway, okay, so my question, Ruslan, I know it's late. I didn't realize how late this was, but
we're here.
So I recently been trying to start my own live stream show. It's been a dream I've had for a while. I tried to do a podcast experiment last summer and no one listened to it, so I stopped doing it. It's funny because I was like, I'm doing this for me, and then no one listened to it. I was like, I don't want to do this. So I guess, I want to take your master class eventually. I wasn't able to jump on it this past time that you did it. I don't know when you're starting it up again, but I just want to know if you had a few quick tips for first starting out. I tried using Restream. I did one video so far, had a couple issues using it. I think I'm going to try StreamYard for the next one, just because I don't have the money to invest in a bunch of external equipment at the moment. So I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible.
Sure.
I got a good camera, I have a decent microphone, everything like that. So firstly, like, I didn't know if you had a couple quick tips for when you're first starting out, because I had like 3 viewers, which was fine, I guess. And then my other thing is I was wondering what metrics would you want to see from someone if they wanted to have you on their show, like to interview you, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I personally would love to eventually get to the point where you would honor me with an appearance, but I'm sure there would be certain things you would want to see in order to make it worth your time, for lack of a better.
Fantastic question. Okay, first part, I'm gonna give you a macro idea, which is you have to reverse engineer people's attention. I'm in the middle of like a really expensive YouTube course, and so I'm like really immersed in YouTube right now. So I think the very first thing is you gotta respect people's attention, and you gotta reverse engineer and care about the things that they care about. That's one of the biggest things. So I have the free training and I talk about this in my, what is that called? My
Find your niche.
Disruptive, the find your niche, but also the disruptive value. Okay, so you have that part down. Okay, so then in terms of the technical side, I think you just need to find something that works for you, and whatever works for you. OBS is free, so that's what I would use. That's what I did use. I just upgraded to Ecamm because I'm making a little bit of money off of it, and I like the customer service.
What we use for our church live stream. When we live stream our services is Ecamm.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah.
Yes. So I would say, man, if you are, and you're frozen, by the way, JP.
I'm frozen.
Yeah, I think you got to find something that works for you. Restream is great because there is something already built into Restream that allows you to do like overlays and all that kind of stuff. I think that the downside, JP, about using something router based or excuse me, browser based, is that you then everything then is dependent on the browser, and then so if there's like you're using an external microphone, there might be audio sync delays that you can't always adjust the same way as you can on a standalone program, right?
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, I just can't see you.
Okay, I don't know what's wrong. It's fine on my end.
It's all good. Can you still see me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's making sense. So I like browser-based programs. So OBS I think is the best way to get started. It's the most affordable. It's free. There's a lot of resources out for it. There's just no technical support for it. Which for me,
I think the main thing for me is StreamYard and Restream is you can do a video call inside of the stuff, so you don't have to deal with like a virtual cam and things like that. And have to pay for like a Zoom account so you can do it longer than an hour and all that kind of extra, all those extra steps. You can do it all from inside of the software because they have a virtual studio.
Yeah, Zencastr.
That's why I was interested.
Zencastr also has that, I think is what it's called. Zencastr also has that, but I think Zencastr is also browser-based. So I think what you got to do, JP, is just figure out what makes sense for you and what you enjoy. Lacey, thank you so much for the super chat. What interface do you personally enjoy? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you enjoy? What makes sense to you? I got Ecamm because, one, I needed exactly what you're talking about, but I also just like how it looks. Like when I open up this thing, it just looks fire, bro. Let me see if I can show it to you guys. Hold on. Let's see if I can show it to you guys. Give me one sec. Output. I don't think I could do it. Can I? Live demo mode. Let's see if it does it. What? It's being weird. It's not letting me do it. Anyway, I like how it looks. I think that matters. Aesthetic matters, right? So whichever one makes sense for you. In terms of interviews, I haven't found anything better than Ecamm, bro. That's, to me, is just super fire. I haven't found anything better quality-wise. I think Zencastr is a close second. Another thing you can do is you can use two separate computers and do FaceTime through a video switcher, and that is also very clean quality. And that's what I was doing for a couple of interviews, is FaceTime through a video switcher, two separate computers. That's also another option, but I didn't want to use two separate computers. Like right now I'm using, you guys are on one computer for Zoom and I'm streaming from another computer. Ecamm now does everything for me, so my interviews are higher quality than my Zoom calls.
Okay,
does that help?
I got you. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I use my church. We bought a really nice iMac earlier this year, and they're like, we can't pay you to make videos for us, but you can use this computer for personal projects and stuff. So,
dope.
I'm trying to launch everything from that. It's a super powerful, iMac.
Yeah,
like a pretty souped up one. So
you should see if you can use their Ecamm, bro.
Yeah, I probably should look into that as well. Like I said, I'm very much in the figuring it out.
I mean, they're not paying you, so.
Right. But yeah, I just didn't know if you had any specific metrics you look for whenever it's like.
Great question. Second question. Yeah. Great question. Okay. I didn't for the longest, and I was highly disappointed with the results. So I would just pop up on people's channels, and I was like, man, it doesn't make a ton of sense for me, and it doesn't make a ton of sense for them, because if they're not positioned to grow, an appearance from me prematurely doesn't actually help them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like if I do an interview with you and you have 5 videos out, or you got like 5 good videos out and a bunch of like random streams, and then we do an interview together, it's not necessarily going to help you. It's going to get you some views, but you want to do an interview like that when you have a back catalog of content that people are going to go poke around at. So it's really more figuring out, like, 1, how long have they been consistent? 2, do they consistently get views? And 3, like, is this actually going to help them, right? Because yes, my time is valuable and all that kind of stuff, but I want it to be something that, like, yes, this is going to help their channel. Another thing that people don't take me up on, JP, is people haven't done this enough. Call into one of these calls, bro, and talk to me for 8 minutes and put that on your channel. Like, boom, you just got a free Ruslan collab. You know what I'm saying? Without having to go through the logistics of like setting up an interview. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, enough folks haven't done that. So folks are like, yo, can I get you on my channel? Like, I'm not going to sit down for an hour. But a handful of people have done that, and it hasn't been as many as I think. But if you're trying to like just get a quick little collab going, and it's going to get, it'll help your channel, then do that. I say generally my matrix is their channel monetized? Do they have at least a couple thousand subscribers? And then do they feel like they found their niche? I was on a channel recently, bro, with someone at like 10,000 subscribers, really killer aesthetic, the whole bit. And then I saw them setting up their stream, and their stream wasn't monetized. And I was so irritated, because I was like, fam, I'm on your channel, there's 8 people watching. Why did you not monetize the YouTube stream? That's why YouTube didn't service this to anybody. You know what I mean? So I think that's the type of situations where I'm like, man, I'd rather avoid something like that, because it was a fire conversation that no one's going to look at because the person didn't set it up correctly.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely a lot of things I'm trying to figure out. I love facilitating conversations. I'm trying to build it around it's literally, it's called Thanks for Letting Me Ramble. It's just literally like, I just wanted to pick something super broad and talk about whatever. I have a couple topics I really enjoy talking about, but and also just really building around, like, I'm nobody, so I'm trying to like bring on people I know. Like, I know people who do this random thing or do that or do this other thing, and just like talk to normal people about, you know, what is it that you do?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, ask some questions about different things like that. You know, I think it's going to be fun, and I kind of feel like it could get really big, but
Got you. Okay.
obviously
Well, yo,
it's a
DM me
long
on
road there.
Instagram if you want me. I'll open up the course for you at a discount if you could afford it. And,
I appreciate that,
and we could figure that out. But yeah, we could definitely do that. Last question for you, man. So is As I Lay Dying still in any way considered to have anything to do with the Christian metal band, or are they completely like?
As I Lay Dying, I don't know where they would currently stand. They may still have some members that say they're Christians.
Mhm.
I don't, and also the Ted DiBiase, I think he like rededicated, air quotes, when he was in prison, but that's like a whole mess with him, like trying, like, I don't know if you know the story about him, like getting caught in a police thing, trying to hire a hitman to kill his wife.
Yeah, bro, that
It was
happened
probably
down the
because of the
that
steroids he was
happened
taking.
down the street for me.
Oh, dude, that's wild.
Bro,
That's absolutely wild.
I went to high school with Phil.
Okay.
Yeah, like I know Phil personally. Like we've had multiple classes together.
Wow, dude, that's insane. I would love you to get more like rock and metal artists on the show, because I feel like a lot of people on here, they love hip hop, and like I really enjoy hip hop and rap, but like metalcore is definitely more my forte, and a lot of really interesting people in that scene as well. But anyway,
So are they
Slade,
active?
man, I wanna
are they
let you go for
still
sure.
active As I Lay Dying? Like I hear rumblings.
Yeah,
but not
they
a lot.
dropped a new he got out of prison.
Yep.
And very controversially, they let him back into the band.
Yep.
And they actually dropped an album a year or two ago.
Yeah, 2019. It looks
So-
like. Do you know how well it
yeah,
did?
Yeah. What?
Do you know how well the record did?
I think it did pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people listened to it out of like curiosity, like,
Got you.
what is it going to sound like now? Like, they let him back into the band.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost like a troll listen, so to
Right.
speak.
Right, guys. If you don't know what we're talking about, there's a Christian death metal band, or is it called death metal? Do we not call it death metal? I don't know what the official
No.
title is.
I don't think they would just be considered like metalcore. They're not
Metalcore.
heavy enough to be death metal.
There was a Christian started metalcore band called As I Lay Dying. I went to high school with one of the guitar players named Phil. The local San Diego band, like in like North County, like these guys are around here. The lead singer got on steroids and got caught trying to hire a hitman to kill his wife. This happened at a Barnes and Noble that I've probably shopped at 100 times, down the street.
What a small world, man.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
crazy. Yeah, they're a metal band called. So what we're talking about is like, you know, and then some of the guys renounced the faith and said they weren't Christians anymore
Because of that situation.
because of that situation. Some of the guys said they hadn't been Christians for years and they were just kind of going through the motions. So it's a very, very interesting situation, man. That's a
You
movie.
want to talk about people in it for the money, man? There's quite a few, because like there was a point in the early 2000s where every new metalcore band, like, you could almost assume they were Christian, because that was the cool thing. Like a lot of like the really big metalcore bands from like the early to mid 2000s, like quite a few of the big popular ones were actually Christians in some way, shape, or form at the foundation. And things just got a lot more complicated from there, as they always do. So, but yeah, no, definitely interesting for sure.
Got you. Somebody asked why I went 100 times to Barnes & Noble. Why I went 100 times to that Barnes & Noble. Around the same time, he tried to hire this hitman, by the way, because I may have been there, you know, around the same days. It was my last job before I worked with kids with before I worked with at my church, my last real job was I worked with adults with developmental disabilities. And how that would work is that we would have an AM activity and a PM activity. And the AM activity was usually the gym, then we'd have lunch. And then the PM activity was like if we didn't have a class or we didn't go to the library, we would go to Barnes & Noble and hang out. It's actually a really fun job. So that's how I spent so much time. And if I'm honest, I probably went more than 100 times, because we would go at least once or twice a week. That would be the activity, is you go hang out at Barnes & Noble.
Maybe Ted should have been in your class, bro.
Man, that would be crazy. Yeah, man, I'm I'm praying for that dude Phil. I've been thinking about reaching out to him, but last time I reached out to him, it's like his number changed, and it was just really difficult to try to get a hold of the dude. And then I saw him. We were at an award show together, a San Diego Music Award show together. I saw him, and we were hanging out, and I don't do well with the Hollywood vibe. Like I cannot do like, oh, you made it, so now you finna act weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like any reek of that, I'm just utterly repulsed by that. That's a personal trigger of mine. It's like that and legalism, 2 triggers of mine. So when I got those vibes from Phil, I was like, oh, I'm not even gonna do this right now. So anyway, that was that is my backstory with As I Lay Dying, bro. And I then went down the rabbit hole and went on to all the metal websites and blogs and YouTube channels and interviews and watched their interviews, and it was
dude, I'll have to DM you a couple good California-based bands. Maybe you could reach out to. They want to hop on.
Yeah, man. Let me know. JP, thank you so much, brother. Send me a DM on IG, and we'll figure out the course. I'll send you a discount code, and we'll try to
Appreciate it, man. You have a great night.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Well, I got to be at the gym in 7 hours, so this didn't plan this out too well. Hey, you guys, merch on the way. New merch drop on the way. And it is available soon. But before that, so we're bringing back the Bless God stuff. I'm going to just drop the link and pin it up. We're bringing back the Bless God stuff. This is probably going to drop, I don't know, August or something like that. So if you guys want to, if anybody got a question real quick, let me know. And I'll answer any like outro questions. I really got to go to sleep. But this is coming out. It's just called Love What You Do. And it's going to be the Bless God stuff is coming back too. So some of you guys have been asking about Bless God. That's coming back. Love What You Do is the new collection. There's a song coming, some more music, all that kind of good stuff. You said late night. Did I say that? What did I say? Late night? Good night? Late night? Yeah. Anyway, somebody asked why did I go on so late? I got on so late because I'm in the middle of this like YouTube course, and I'm trying to like strategize and get better at like making videos and all that kind of stuff, because to whom much is given, much is required. The channel's growing. I want to be better. I am tired. And so there's that. That's why I came on here. 2, because I did want to let people know that the store was open. You guys can get your gift cards ahead of times. And 3, because I got this new saucy lens and filter. I mean, look at this thing. I've bought this lens off of Zach Sparazzo, sold it, and bought it again. And now it has this super dope filter. All my cameras have this, like, you see like that diffusion filter, supposed to give you that movie look. So they all, that's channel 2 usually for my thumbnails. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because I wanted to try out the new lens. I was inspired. You ever get a new piece of gear and you're just inspired? Does it make you look nice? Does it? Do you think it makes me look nice stripping, honey? I don't know. I don't know if it makes me look nice. Have you heard the song Date Nights and Sipping Wine? No. This is a cool night, chilling in the living room. Thank you, I think you say your name, Corpio Loves. Appreciate you, brother. The bloom is strong with one. The bloom is strong. Which one? This one? Or this one? Or that one? I think this one is money. This look like Vanilla Sky. You ever seen Vanilla Sky? This one, and then I can go boom here. I'm slouching right now, but yeah, I think this angle is fire. I love this angle with the whole thing. Is it a Teflon black or a Moment? It's a Teflon. I went back and forth, and I just got the Teflon honestly because I can get it here faster. Yeah, yo, thank you for asking. Lecrae is coming on tomorrow at 11 a.m. That's another reason to make sure you're subscribed and the bell notification is on, because yeah, Lecrae is gonna be here. Allegedly. We'll see if he shows up. 11 a.m. Subscribe, turn the bell notifications on. I've been coordinating with his publicist, who reached out to me, by the way. And so that is pretty cool. So I'm super excited about that. Shout out to Kingdom State of Mind for complimenting me, saying that I'm handsome. I appreciate that. I definitely am about 20 pounds overweight right now. So and this lens definitely makes my face look bigger. So I appreciate you saying that. Yes, that's movies for sure. Yeah, I think this is fire personally. I think this is dope personally. But yeah, Lecrae, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. Pull up, man. Pull up. And if you guys Want to partner with what we're doing? Of course, Patreon's the best way. And or get yourself ready for the next merch drop. Go pick up. See this little button right here that says purchase gift card. You can purchase the gift card, and if you're a Patreon and you got the gift card on deck, the moment everything drops, you ready to go. All right. Candace Owens is definitely not coming on the channel. I really tried to get Candace Owens out. I even humbled myself and texted Brandon Tatum. You know what big of a fan I am of Brandon Tatum, and she did not. Yeah, there was no. Tiffin Black Pro Mist is a great choice. Love the look of the show. Oh, that's on Peaky. Okay, I didn't know that was Peaky Blinders. Shout out everything for that's really good to know. Candace Owens interview would be amazing. Excited for Lecrae. Are you ever gonna do a Good Religion 2? Probably not. But hey, man, Lord can do anything. God can do anything. But no, I mean, here's the thing about that. A Good Religion 2, there would be no sense in that. There would be no point in that. Everyone is doing their own thing. Everyone's happy. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's married. Everyone is, you know, living life, man. So I don't know why would we do a Good Religion 2. Too much people in power don't want Candace interview. Sign. Wait, don't want too much people in power. Don't want Candace interview. Here's the thing. I have this theory that, like, I think a Candace Owens or whoever, I think there are certain people that don't like to be challenged, and don't put themselves in positions where they can truly be challenged. I think Candace Owens can hold her own. I want to talk to Candace about Jesus. I don't want to talk about Candace about racism and politics. I want to talk to her about Jesus and how does she reconcile some of her political views with professing to be a follower of Jesus. Does she follow to be a follower of Jesus? You know what I'm saying? Oscar, you just asked a very loaded question. How do I promote my music and get it heard? Oscar, I'm tired, but I'm going to give you the short answer. One, make sure the music is good. Step one. If the music's not good, it doesn't matter how well you promote it. Yeah. So make the music good. Two, respect people's attention span. Don't make the music just about you. Make it about people. Make it about the people. Three, embrace emerging technology. Embrace emerging technology. TikTok is how most people are getting on right now. And a lot of y'all are way too cool for school and you don't give a crap. So that's why most people don't ever get popping, is because you are not willing to embrace what the people have chosen to embrace as their platform of choice. So there you go. Make the music good. 2, respect people and the consumer. 3, embrace emerging technology. If you do those 3 things, odds are you will develop an audience, which I think that's ultimately what you want to do. Sure, I would love to hear this stuff from Candace Owens beyond politics. I enjoy your videos, very encouraging. Keep abiding Christ. Thank you, Jason. The roaming cam autofocus does not like the bloom on the light. Are you talking about when it goes to does not look like, or does not like the bloom on the light? Are you talking about that light when this light comes around right here? Watched a Joe Rogan podcast, and Candace said she believes in Jesus but doesn't believe in the resurrection. Really, Ethan? I did not know that. You should let me know. You should send me that timestamp on Instagram, Ethan. That would be actually very helpful if you send me that. If it's produced well, to move forward and market it and get it in front of people. Thank you, Carpio. That's a very simple feedback, right? Yep. All right, guys, I gotta go, man. Love you guys. If you want to partner with what we're doing, go to Patreon. Get yourself ready for the merch drop that is pinned up in the description. You can go poke around, see some of the new designs that are on the way. It keeps focusing with the light bar behind your head or in front of your. What? It keeps focus with the light bar behind your head or in front. It does. It doesn't seem like it's focusing on the light bar, right? I'm still in focus right now. Right? Like the light bar is behind me, but I'm still in focus. Am I not? You're confusing me, JP. I'm confused. All right, guys, I got to go. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you guys tomorrow, I think, with Lecrae at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Appreciate it. Watching from Australia. Just entered Lockdown 5.0. I read X17 this morning, Paul in Athens. You, Ruslan, are like a modern day Paul. Thank you so much, man. I'm so sad you guys went into lockdown again, brother. That sucks, man. California is just right there behind you. More lockdowns and or mask requirements in LA. I'm so sorry to hear that, brother. All right, I gotta go. Love you guys. Peace.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Hey, thank you so much for making it till the end of this video. If you found it valuable, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. You can check out one of the other videos related to this that'll be over here. Now, I gotta tell you about a free training I have for anyone that is an entrepreneur, a creative, an artist, but maybe you are unsure on how to find your voice, how to find your niche. I have a free training in the description of this video. Check it out. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next video.
Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Yeah, conversations front of the fireplace. All of my mistakes, how do I erase? Wanna operate at a higher pace. Birth pains causing the body to dilate. On a first name basis with the worst pain facing. Moments in isolation. See, I was hoping I would do this to get more family time. A busy mind and worried heart is just not where I reside. I subscribed that all that traveling wasn't doing well for my soul. Glad I never made it when my name went through the rumor mill. I suppose that the Lord knows I'd have failed. Instead, I'm doing well at home, out my shell. Good book off the shelf, more dubs off the else. I told Ray they ain't just gon' know us, they gon' know us